Okay, that's our main big riff getting this going. We're gonna start with the E chord. So I'm doing like a percussive strike, muting all the strings, coming up for that open, doing that twice. So we do that riff twice and we go. So we hit a downbeat on the D chord. Could be like a D chord or just a D power chord. Now we're gonna get into this 4 and 7. You could have this 6 down here too. It's basically like an A chord with a C sharp bass. Sometimes you'll see that kind of walking down like that. We got an A power chord also on an upbeat. So watch our upbeats on this. We got. Okay, so we got. You can start that new measure with a boom boom E and then 7 9 0, and that's going to be our repeating phrase. It's going to go 3 times. So we got. Okay, so that's the riff. Let's try that together nice and slow. 2 3 4. You could kind of go to that note instead sometimes. Let's try it again. 3, a little faster. 2 3 and. The other thing is you could do an easier thing and not try to get those opens. Make it a little simpler. Chicka chicka, chicka chicka. Chicka chicka. But if you can get it kind of a groove with that, it makes it sound real big, you know. Fourth time is going to be. Kind of wait till the end, like a couple measures. You got a drum fill and stuff. You're going to have it like a 3 and 4 E and a little pull off on the 3-0 on that E and so like 1 2 3 E and then we're back to the. Okay, so that's going to be 2 times of that. Then we're going to get into this new thing. This is what I call part B. That first riff would be part A. So this is going to be like a C sharp minor. We got 9, 11, 11, 9, 9, 9. And you can do there's little riffs you can do all up in here. Whatever you're thinking. Sometimes I might just hammer in on this D string, get that 9 to 11 going there. So that's like a B, 7 9 9 8 7 7 to part of a little E in back. You could just kind of do it by doing this, making it like a sus. But it's easy enough to do it kind of the chord back and forth. And then we can have a little A honky tonk. So that's gonna be 7 chords going up chromatic. A7 to B flat 7 or A sharp 7, B7 to C7. You got bum 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 2 3 4 1. And then we got this riff that comes in on the and of the 1 after that. And 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's open. 7 9 7s on the next 2 to the big 9 7s again open. So we got. 2 3 4 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, now we're into the chorus that starts with our main riff. But it goes quickly into this D chord. D, D, to that A with a C sharp type of thing. Has 3 little notes at the end. And 4, and get 4, 7 on the A to the big E. So the new measure is going to have a E chord right at the top, and then a 7/9 on the A string to a 6 on the D. So we got. Okay, so we'll slow that down. So once again, we got our chorus, and this is after we had that whole. See how that works? So we'll slow that down. We're going to start at the E of the chorus. 2, 3, and. Try it again. 2, 3, 4. Back to the D thing. So that one goes boom, boom, jing, jing, ba, dum, dum. So a little different. So once again. And then D. And then just kind of fill some space there at the end. The tab might say like, but it's not really important. It's kind of just fill that out. Get ready for boom, boom, jang, 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 jang. Okay, so we have a big build up on the E there. So the whole chorus again, we got. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And then we have 3 and 4 and. So we have a little fill here. 7, 9, 7, open. And then we're back into part A. Chicka, chicka, whichever one you want. And then we're back into part B, which is C sharp minor. B, E, and B back. 2, 3, and. Okay, so same stuff. We got the chorus again. We got. Remember that riff for the outro. The harmony of that is. If you want to try that one. One, 2, 3, and 4, and. So this time on this chorus, we're going to have the build up on the E. So we're going to go open to G sharp power chord 4 and 6 to B power chord 7 and 9. C sharp minor. We're going down to the F sharp minor. So we're down to the A string bass note. 9, 11, 11, 10, 9. So we got da-dum-dum, C sharp minor. Little fills. F sharp minor and back to C sharp minor. 2 more of the C sharp minors. F sharp major over here we have. 2, 4, 4, 3, 2, 2. So we got the. F sharp minor and back. More of that. F sharp. There's a little 2-0 before the build up. Same stuff again. Now this time we got. So we got an A, and then we got that D with the A bass type thing. Second half of that. Going to A. little 4 2 2 4 2 4, and then C. Now this time we're going to go back to the beginning riff. We're going to have a chica before it. Okay, now we're going to get into the guitar solo. So we got a little preliminary riff, 9 to 11 on the A to 9 on the D. Now we get into the solo, we're going to have... So we have a quick 9 to 11 on the D, 2 9s, 11, 11 down here, 9, 11, 9. Then we're going to bend this 11 a couple times. Okay, so coming down, we got regular 11, 9, 9. That's a big 1.5 step bend. Now a normal one. So that's a 9 to 11. Okay, so we got. Then we're going to bend this 12 in the second string. So we bend it, play it normal, bend it again. Then we hit it kind of quick, staccato. Because we're going to bend this 11 on the G. Quick pull off to the 9, 11 on the other and back. Hit that 9 again. We're going to do 2 of these bendy things with a high note on top. 11 on the G, little 12th fret. 2 times. Then we got to kind of hit that 11 kind of quick staccato. Got this G string, 13th fret with the middle finger. 12, 12. Then there's a series of notes on this 15. You got to just kind of like listen to it to figure out how to pull it off. But the trick is at the end of it, it's where there's space for 3 more notes. These are the notes: 12, 12, 15, and then 12, 12. You're going to bend that 15 on the little one. So let's take it from the top. We got the top of the solo. See how that works? Those are the last 3 notes. It's like E and a, E and a. Then you have a series of, you bend this 15 and you have a 15 and then a half step. So it's not a full bend. And then you come into a 12, 15, 12, 15. You're gonna bend the second one. Series of 15 bends, not bent or bent. At the end of this one, the last 2 notes are, and then your new measure goes. So this last phrase is very important. You got a prelude of notes like a 4, E, and a. So that is a half step bend on the 14. 14, 12, G string, 12, 13, 12, 12, 12 in the B, 15, 12, 14 bend, little half stepper on there. Then you're back into your part B. Now this very last time you have a thing where he goes. So he counts out that da-da, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so So he makes it a little cool there at the end. So he waits for the 1, and instead of resting on the 1, he goes and hits on that slide down there. So it's like 2, 3, 4. So he goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we have the chorus again. We get into this. So there's a little added note there. This one we have. Okay, and then we got. All right, this is Peace of Mind by Boston. We're going to start out with this chord thing here. Okay, so we got a C sharp minor chord, and that starts on the A string, 4, 6, 6, 5, 4. We're going to go to this A chord up here. We got 5, 7, 7, 6. We're really just hitting kind of the bassy notes of that, but you can do your full bar chord if you want. So we got. Okay, so we had a chord and then kind of a pick scratch on the way to the A. We kind of hit 2 A's. And then we go chicka chicka. So here we had an E chord. You got your 7 with the 9s. And this is like a B power chord, 7, 9, 9. We're going to lift that 5th string 9 out and bring it back in. So we got. Okay, so while that guitar is doing that, the other one comes in with a. Okay, so what that is we got the big 9th fret on the E string, we got 9, 9, 9, 6, 7 on the A. So we got. And that was a 9 to 6. And then 7, 6, 7 on the big one, back to the 9. So it's. This time you go 7, 9, 11, 12, 9, 11, hammer on, pull off, back to 7. So nice and slow. It's. Slide that one up. Back in for the second time. And then we settle into a new riff. It's going to be. Okay, so you could have that E kind of riding along with it, or if you didn't have that E riding, it'd just be like this part of an E chord, these 9s and the D string down to B. And that's part of an A chord, if you think about that A shape right there. So that's the 11, 9, and 10 on the D, G, and B strings. So it just does it back and forth a bunch of times. So it sounds pretty good with that E until maybe the end. So you might ditch the E at the end there and make it a little cleaner. So that last riff, we're going to slide into the 13 and 12, G and B strings. So, and take that same shape. So it's 11 and 10 to the 9s. And then you can have like an 11 and 9 to the 9s. Hammer on here, 9 to 11 on the A. Back into those middle strings to the 9s. So, okay, so this new part, we. reverse, we got. Okay, so we're gonna have an E. This is like the honky tonk thing with the 6th chord here with the pinky. So we can do the big E string and the 7 and the 9. We're going into that 11 on the D string. So at the end of this one, we're gonna go slide into the 11 on the A, 9 and 11 on the D, and then an A note. So we got. So we go to a D power chord, A power chord, back to the E thing, and we got it. So there'll be a couple of different fills going on in here. You got this whole thing where you got the 9/11 on the A. You can do that kind of hammer thing, kind of keep that real tall so you can hear the note below. So we got. Okay, so this one we get into the B chord. So we got. And then we're back to those chords. It's kind of more power chords this time. C sharp to A. And that E to B again. A power chord. Next verse. So that same kind of stuff in the end with like an A, and then we're gonna have. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the B power chord. You can be like 2 on the A string, 2, 4, 4, or 2, 4. So we got 2, 4 on the E, A power chord. Kind of hit a big E there. Kind of hit big E's around these moving up. A to C sharp to E. So the last one of that is A, C sharp, B, and then you're like an E. And then we're gonna have the solo's gonna start. It's like there's like 3 measures holding kind of a 3, 4, 1, 2. There's a little note there, 1, 2, 3. So it's on the and of the 4 there. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have the 4, 2, 4 in the A, 2, and then 4 to 6 on the D, 4 in the G, and then we have a. So this is a quick pull off, 6 to 4. Then we're gonna do a full bend on that 7th fret. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have bend on the 7, and then 7, 6, 4, 6, 4, hammer on, pull off, to the 7 on the D, 6 on the D, and then we have a pull off, 7, 4 in the A, and then we have a 7, 5 with a 4 after it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one comes in after the other one finishes. You got. So we're gonna have 9 on the G, and then 9, 10, 9 on the B, 11, 9. The 9 here starts the new measure. So it's like hammer on, pull off, 9, 11, 9, to the 11 here in the D, to the 9 here. So this one's going to be da-da-da, like a triplet. 11, 9, 11. 12, 11 on the A, down to that E note, 9th fret G string. Now this next one's going to slide with the middle finger on the G string into the 18th fret. So we go into the 18 on the G string, and then we go 17 on the second, back to that 18 and back. Bend the 20th fret, and then 20, 19, hammer on, pull off, 17, 19, 17, 18 on the G, so we got. So once we get to that 18, we go back to the 17 on the second, bend the 19, hit that 19 underneath it. It has like a slide down there. Then our next riff is 4, 5, 6, 7 on the D, little chromatic thing. So 4, 5, 6, 7. 4, 6, 4 in the G, hammer on, pull off to that 6 on the D, 4, and then bend the 6, get the little 7 on the smallest string. So we go up, little note, bend down to the 4, and then we're gonna have. So we slide into the 18 on the D, 16 on the G, quick slide from 18 to 20 on the G. And then we have 19, 21, 19. Now this melody is going to go. So this one is 12, hammer on, pull off with the 10, 13 on the G, 11 to the 9 on the D. So. Second time. So that one is. So you got your 10, 12 thing, 13, 11, and then 13. 11 on the D. And then we're going to slide into this 14. 16, 17, that's on the B. We're going to bend that 19th fret with a little E string. So you got all that kind of stuff, and you're going to end up with like a. So you got your A to C sharp to B. So the last one of that, listen to that to get how many times and stuff, but it'd be C sharp, B, these are all power chords. A to B. Got your. Now this time it has a little. So this one goes 11, 12, 9 to 11. So the last one would be. So we got 11, 11, 8, 9, 11 to 8, 9, hammer on pull off, 9 to 11, 9, 11 this time. You're gonna bend that 11 up, 9, 8, 9, and then the hammer on pull off thing. So once again, we got. And then we have this 9 on the G. So it's 9 and then 9, 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, and then the hammer on pull off to the 8, 9, then 9, 10 on the B string. Okay, so. All right, this is going to be the classic White Room by Cream. We're going to start out with this intro here where we have chords. We hold a triad. This is going to be a G minor triad, F triad, D minor triad, C triad. So it's 12, 11, 10 on the bottom three here. And that's 10, 10, 8 for the F chord. And then we have 7, 6, 5. For the D minor chord, and jump up a set of strings, 4, 3, and 2 for the 10, 9, and 8 for a C major chord. So it does that twice, and then after the second time, you do an A minor 7, which is all fives with a 7 on the 5th string. So once again, 3, 4. Okay, then we're going to start our verse riff. We got the D major chord. We're going to have. Here we're going to a C, and we're hitting that G note. You can kind of make a chord out of that too. It's like a C9 chord. So when you look in the tab, sometimes it'll just say he's just kind of doing that 3 and that open, and then that 2 and that open when it comes up. So the chords coming up here are B flat, 1, 3, 3, 3 up to C. But it kind of has a lead in F bass note, boom, 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 and a G bass note kind of. See that? Junk, jank, junk, jank. I'd say like do it sometimes and don't do it sometimes, kind of mix it up, you know. Now the last time, take it on down to that B flat, C to B, B flat. So the last one to go like. We get into a new part. So this is going to be a C chord. This is like a wah-wah part where you'd be like wah, 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 wah. So C chord. This is a G chord, but we're hammering into the 2nd fret of the A string. I got a 3 down here. So it's like open to 2, and then open, open, 3. So it's C, hammer into that. Now this is a B flat, so this is all 3s from the A string down to the B string. Hammering into the 5 there. Same thing for A. 2s with a 4. Then we're going to C up here, 5s to 7. Back to the G. B flat. C. And then we have D. Got that little fill right there. So we hammer into the 9th fret. We got those 7s. Then we have this little fill. So 7 and 9 on the D. 7, 7 on the G. 9 on the D, back. So we got. Okay, and you get another verse, so. Remember the last one on the verse, down to the B flat. And you're into C, G, B flat, A, C, down to G, and B flat, C, D. Okay, and then in between these verses here, you got like, you get back to that intro thing. And something interesting about this, these are 5 beats, so it's like dun, 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 dun. You don't really think about it because the drums make it just feel natural in that, but it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All that. Okay, now we're gonna get into the solo, Eric Clapton solo. So we got. So I'm pretty sure Eric Clapton would bend it like this. Because he would do a lot of that when you take that finger and kind of misplace it to do the bends better, right? That's when you get that finger up here instead of, normally like be there in a position. So we got bend in the 12 on the G. And you got a little 10 and a 13 on the 2nd string back to that 12 on the G. So it's. That last one was down to the 10, 12, 12 to 10. So you're trying to get these notes to sustain into the other notes as much as you can. And then we have. So 12, 10, down to the 12 on the D, back up, D, down, little bend on that. And then we actually have a pull off on that one. And then you got a little half step bend, and then 2 full step bends on the 13. So the whole thing is like. So that's a little 10 to 13 on the 2nd, and then you wait a slight second and you bend this 12 on the G. So bend, 12, 10, low 12, 10, and then 12 to 14, slide. And then we're going to get into this. We do this hammer on into another note there. So we got 13, 15 on the 2nd, down to 13 on the 1st. Little groups of 3 notes. We're going to do this 9 times. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So then you have a quick slide, 14 to 12 on the G. Pull off, end on that 12, and then we have a. So that's a 10 on the G, lower 12, da-da, 12, 10. Getting into one of those again. So we got the bend on the 12, little 10, 13. And then we have a 12, and then we have a series of notes that are hammer on, pull off to a lower note. So that kind of goes 3 times, so it's like. And then we have a D-da-doom, 12, 10 on the D to the A. Then we have a hammer on the D, da-doo, D-da-dee-da, a couple pull-offs. So let's take a review of the whole thing. We got. Now we get into the second page of the tab here. We got, so that's a 12, hold it a little bit, and then 10, 12, 10. Then we get into the 13 on the second string. So we kind of hold it, pull it, hold it, pull it, and then a quick one. And then we have a, so kind of a pause, and then a little 10. Kind of have a quick one. And then a longer one and a quicker one. So just kind of like listen for that one. And then we have a slight pause in the next measure. So that was a little 10, pull off, 13, 10, 12, back to 10. Hammer on, pull off, little bend on that one. 12, 10, 12. And here we have a step and a half bend with your first finger. This one takes a little strength and practice to get with this one. So we have a bends all the way to the sound of the 13th fret. And then we're going to bend that 12 up. 10, 13 on the second, 12 on the third, bend that 12. And then we have one of those hammer on pull offs to the lower note. And then we're going to get into a thing. So kind of a quick picking thing. And he's working the wah real heavy right there too. This whole thing has great wah-wah on it. So listen for that as well. So 10, 12, bend, 12, 10, lower 12. Then we're going to go the second time. Little 10, 13, 10. So that one ends with dun 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 doo dee doo. A few 12s there. Dun dun dun, 12, 12, 12. Then we're going to have this 10, 12, 14. Hit a little 15 there, and then hit this 14 and 13. Hit that chord a few times. We got a big 1.5 step bend on this 15. And then kind of a few of those bends, and then hammer on pull off, 15 twice. The end of that measure is 13, 15, little 13, 14, and then we get into towards the end. So we're going to go through everything again. Let's start with the. We're gonna have dee da dee da 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 dum, da da dee da 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 dum, and then 13, and then bend it, again. Little 10 to 13 on the second. Bend that little 13. So that's gonna be bend, 13, hammer on pull off, 10 to 13. 13 on the second to the 10 twice. 13 and bend. And then this one goes da dee da dee da. So little 10, 13, 10, bend up and down, pull off here. 12, 10, 12, and then the end of that measure. Da doo dee da, and then getting a series of bends here. 12th fret bends a normal 1-step bend. 14 goes like a step and a half. So it fades out while it's doing that. All right, so I'm gonna try the whole solo one more time. Here we go. All right, this is going to be Walk Away by the James Gang. We're going to start out with this little intro. We got. Okay, so what's going on there is we have two chicks, so muted percussive hits kind of. So we got. This is a D flat major, 4 6 6 6. The middle strings there. We're going to be going to an A flat major. Basically the four top strings, 4 6 6 and 5. So we got. So our first thing is chicka, D flat, A flat. So 1 2 3. Okay, so it gets a little tricky after that. So we got. Okay, so we'll walk you through that. So once again, at the beginning, we got chicka, D flat, A flat. So we have 3 hits on that. So we got. Then we have another chicka, D flat. Now this is kind of like a second hit, but it has 4 kind of percussive scratches to get you into one last. We're gonna have chicka ching. So we got. Okay, that gets us into part A, which is like the main rhythm for verses and stuff, and the solo as well. So this is part A is going to be. Okay, so the first time you do that, there's kind of a fill you can kind of. So when you're playing off that chord, you can slide into one of those major thirds. Slide 6 to 8 on the A string. One of those types of things. So you got. Okay, and then we have like 7 times of that thing. So after you've done the 7, the 8th one is going to go and have a stop, and then we get into the chorus, which is. Let's look at that. We got an F power chord, 8 10 10 here. We're gonna go chord and then chicka chicka. So chicka chicka chan, chicka chicka chicka. So it's. And then same thing coming from here. And then. This song has a lot of that where you're playing your power chord, but you're playing the extra bass note as well. It makes it sound really fat. Now we have part E, which is the kind of stops on the hook chords. So you got. Okay, so that got into part F. So part E is going to be. We're going to have. And that's going to be a B flat minor, but we're having that extra bass note, so it ends up being 1 1 3 3 2 1. So we had a chick chick and then that chord, and then we have chick chick into the B chord, B major, 2 2 4 4 4. Back to that one, and then we have a little pickup note. So a little bit of that D flat real quick into part F, which is, and that one kind of has a one of those little things there too. So. And now we're back into a part A for another verse. We got 7 times of that. And on that 8th, you're going to hit that little stops thing. Then we have back to part B, which is like the chorus. This part again. Then we got that part F. We got. And then we're back to a solo. We got that same rhythm for part A. We got. Same stuff. Like I said, 7 of those, and on the 8th you got. Then you got that seems to me, and that's our little chorus thing. We got. Back to part F. Now we have another verse, so we have another. Seems to me. This time we're going to do this 5 times. Do it again. Okay, and it basically fades out on that. So once again, I'll kind of run you through the rhythms on this. We got. Like we said, got some stops. Seems to me. So that's basically all your rhythms. Now let's look at some leads. So in the beginning of the song, there's a little short, little fill kind of a lead. We got. So that's a hammer on 11 to 13 on the G. Then we're going to bend the 15 on the G. Bend the 15 up, have the pinky hit the 16 on the 2nd string. 4 of those, and then bend that one back down and go to the 13. So we got. Okay, then after that first verse line, we got like a. So we're bending the 6 on the G. We got like 3 staccato hits while it's bent, and then we bend it down. And then hit the 6 again. 4 to 5 hammer. 4 and a little 6 bend on the little string there. So we got. Okay, then later there's a fill like in between a verse. It's like. So we got a little half step bend on the 10. And then we're going to go 2 more hits on the 10. And then bend an 11. 11, 10, 9 to 9, jumping strings there. And then we got one that goes. So bend the 3, hit the 4 underneath it, hit those 1s. That's part of your A flat chord there. All right, so we got. So here goes the full solo. Okay, so we got sliding into the 10 on the D string, 8, 10 on the G, first finger bend on that 8th fret G, do it twice, then this time, half step bend on that 10, and then we're going to do a half step bend on the 10 on the D, come down to that 9 on the 2nd string, and then we have, you can either do a half step there again, or just hit that 11, and then we have double stops. So that's 10 on the D string with 9 on the B string, and then 11s, 12s, and 13s. And then there's a bendy riff that's like bending the 3 on the G string. So you're bending up, hitting the little 4, and then doing the little 1 after that. Back to the 3, 1 to 3, and then 4 on the 2nd string. So we got. Great Joe Walsh riff, right? And then you got a. So hammer 1 to 3 on the D, same on the G, bend this. Got the 4 down there. 3 comes down, goes to the 1. Okay, so review the solo here. Okay, then later we have a little fill. So we're bending the 18 and hitting it a couple more times. And that's similar to a riff we had earlier. We got 15 on the G to the 16 underneath, coming on down to that 13. Okay, then we have another fill. So we're bending the 15 on the G, and then we're going 13, 14, 16 on the B. And then 13, 15 on the G, 15 on the D to 13. And then bend the 16 on the 2nd string. Go to that 13 on the G. Okay, then later there's a fill that comes in for the outro. It's like. So 4 to 6 on the A, 4 on the D and back. Pull off here. Another pull off. And then 7, 4. And then it starts morphing into a slightly different riff. So that's kind of hold that note, da 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 dee da da, and it just repeats that. You can throw that in there every now and again. You could also get like a. You can hear it kind of morphing as it goes, kind of changing around a little bit. So once again, we got. That's one of the riffs, and then. Okay, so we'll go through these riffs one more time. We got. And we got. And we got. And then the solo. And then later we got. And then those final riffs.